This podcast is brought to you by Patriot Mobile, the phone service of America's Freedom Tribute. Use code AFT for your first month free. Vietnam veterans served our nation during one of the most challenging and controversial periods in American history. Whether they fought in combat, provided support services, or served at home and abroad, they demonstrated courage, sacrifice, and dedication to duty. Many returned home without the recognition they deserved, yet the resilience and commitment to continue to inspire future generations. Welcome back. I'm Dorina Federici, and this is Let's Talk About Veterans, where their stories matter. And actually, this time around, we are calling this Veteran Life Before, During, and After Vietnam. And I just love that. So my guest today, I met him a year ago. He was here every step of the way when we were bringing the other tribute here to Wethersfield. And I'm so excited because now I can call him my friend. We've become very good friends, and I want you to welcome Staff Sergeant Ron Catania of the United States Air Force. Welcome.
Why, thank you.
Like
thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's my honor to be here.
Yeah.
It's my honor to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. Yeah. So tell us a little bit of how did you end up in the service?
First of all, I with some help, I selected this title for a reason. I think it's important that everyone knows the life of a Vietnam vet before, during Vietnam, and after what he did or she did after Vietnam. So, you know, my life history is I grew up as a kid in Hartford. Went to parochial school, came from a family of 8 kids.
Yeah.
7 boys and 1 girl. In fact, 6 of us are actually in public service, or were in public service. 5 have been police officers. I'm the only vet. They all razz me. They never went in the armed forces. But they've done well. There's a lot of, you know, they're in all the towns in Connecticut. And the lone sister, she's a homemaker. But I spent a lot of time in Hartford, and then I moved to Rocky Hill. Moved to Rocky Hill probably at the age of 9, and I've been there for 71 years. I'm 80 years old. So when I went to Rocky Hill, I turned around and started in 4th grade at elementary school, and this is, you know, it was very different for me from a Catholic school.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Public versus, you know, Catholic school is totally different. We went from like a center school to a Mosher school to the Rocky Hill Junior Senior High School, graduated in '63. Yeah. Made high honors, loved it. Then I had a decision to make, but I postponed that and decided to work for 2 years as a cost analysis accountant. And then I had a decision to make, not because of the draft, but because I really wanted to join. And, you know, you could pick the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard. I decided to pick the Air Force. And when I went to the recruitment officer, at that time, and I checked on it recently, they still give 4 tests.
Yeah.
They give electrical, they give math, they give everything. So I was in a general category, and they decided that maybe wise I would turn around and become a military intelligence specialist.
Wow.
So I says, well, what is that? What's a military intelligence specialist going to do? So they said, well, we found out that you can type. So I says, yeah, I can type because I learned typing with 4 years of all the girls and one guy in a classroom, and I could type 80 words a minute.
That's good.
And so they put me through what was called Morse intercept operations, and it was like Morse code. Did-da-da, and little did I ever know what I was going to get involved in. So I spent before I did that, I spent the 6 weeks, 8 weeks of basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Then I moved on to Keesler Air Force Base, where I took this 8 to 10 week intensive course of not only Morse code, but being somewhat of an analyst. And I came out first in my class. Oh, I picked this Italian kid. I picked Italy.
There you go.
And I didn't get Italy, so I had a second pick, and I picked England. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And this was the exciting part. And everyone thinks, well, you're on a keyboard, you're typing, what's it going to bring? So I spent 2 years in England. And what I did was I was typing Russian aircraft code.
Wow.
And my brothers all laughed because let's hope they change the codes, because I still can remember every one of them. I remember frequencies. So I spent 2 years in England. I saw England as it was, and then I had a decision. I belonged to the 69 50th Security Squadron. Okay. And there's about 100 of us in the squadron, and I was the only individual decided to volunteer for Vietnam. And wow. And my team thought I was nuts. But I was the type of kid that I wanted to win this war. Yeah. So, so at that time, they gave me 30 days of TDY. I could go home, spend the time at home. And I prepared myself for Vietnam. Actually, I did something I should not have done. I told my mother I was going to Thailand, which didn't go over very well because the next door neighbor saw one of my envelopes, and she says, that APO is not Thailand, it's Vietnam. So that didn't go over very well. So in Vietnam, what was happening was we were typing this code, and you've got to visualize the map of Vietnam, where you have North Vietnam and South Vietnam, and you have a demilitarized zone. And what would happen is the MiG-21s from the north, which were Russian, would come down and fight the F-4Cs below. And they'd go into a dogfight in the DMZ, and one wouldn't come back. And here I am typing alone, and some of the airmen next to me are saying, how are you getting this? How are you able to get this information? But my mind, I was able to type so fast that I could pick up the information. They'd take it off a teletype, they'd run it to an analyst, and they'd figure out where the coordinates were.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. But I started off as this Morse intercept operator, but I enjoyed this so much that the analysts were teaching me the coordinates. So I was able to understand what was going on. So that was the part of it that was interesting. That was the part of it that was, exhilarating. You would see what was going on with the aircraft. The part of it that was a disaster was the shells and bombs. Yeah. Because we were in one tent, then we were in another mobile unit, and then the tent would get blown up, and then the mobile unit would get blown up. And we were all over Marble and Monkey Mountains, all over Da Nang, and we'd see all sorts of things that are indescribable. Yeah. There was some decent parts of it. I mean, once in a while, the Marines would bring us a box of filet steaks, and
Marines.
But the things that were horrible was the bombs and shells. I could still remember those like yesterday. They were absolutely horrible. They'd come in on every night. Mm-hmm. We lost a few guys. I lost my best friend in Vietnam. I don't regret going there. I'm proud of my service there. I think that all the people I met there, actually, I said this before, it's kind of strange that a Vietnam veteran would say it made you a better person. But when you're surrounded by people that are going to save your life in case of a disaster, or in case of a shell coming in, or in case of them throwing you over their back. You know, I met some guys there that were I met some of the operators that were just great friends. And so when I came home, I wasn't treated like the normal Vietnam vet coming home. I was treated in Rocky Hill. It wasn't a party, it wasn't a parade, but it wasn't, you know, throwing spit at you. It wasn't that in Rocky Hill. Rocky Hill was different.
Right.
Veterans today are treated better. It's a tearful thing to see the Vietnam veterans the way they're treated now with their disability.
Yep.
So
Agree with you.
I spent a year there, came back. That was during, I'll probably remember some things and go back to them, but that was the main thing I did for 1 year. I copied code, broke code, analyzed code, met some great people. And when I got out, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I almost rejoined again, but I decided not to. And I decided to go for a couple interviews. Went as a corrections officer, didn't want to do that. And I went to a company that a lot of people don't remember called Sage Allen. Sage Allen Department Stores. And,
oh, yeah.
And I ended up being their security officer, moved on to the security assistant, to the director, to a vice president. They treated me very well. I hated that place closing. I spent 20 years there, became a first aid instructor, saved a couple of lives in the store.
Wow.
Did different volunteer type things. Volunteered, got a lot of people their first aid instruction. Spent 20 years there. Became a vice president. Loved it. We had 20 stores. It was a great department store, but you know, department stores got eaten up.
They did.
They got eaten up, and what was happening was they were going south. So at the close of that, 2 days before they were going to close, somebody called me from Bob's Stores, the apparel store.
Yeah.
So now I'm still in retail, still answering alarms, still doing all this stuff. Went to Bob's and spent 26 years there.
Wow.
26 years there, and what Bob's did for me as a person outside of the work was similar to a lot of volunteer work. Volunteered for Katrina, went to Katrina, volunteered for 9/11, brought a lot of merchandise to EMTs there. I remember going into 9/11 like yesterday. We went in there with the truck full of merchandise, and the cops brought us in there. They dropped us off and then they left. And all we're seeing is we didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
So the police officer came and says, "Look, I said, "Where are we?" He says, "There's the hole." And when we stepped down, we were stepping down. We thought was snow. It was actually ash. It was just, but I did a lot of things. They honored me at Yankee Stadium. I did a lot of different things. I enjoyed my time there. But after retail, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And this part of my life, we'll call it after Vietnam and after work, I decided to apply for a state job. Right. And it was called, actually we made our own titles because the titles were just, we would call ourselves veterans reps. So during that period of time, I helped 650 vets.
Wow.
And got them employment. And a lot of veterans they're just hung up on being intimidated by the VA. So we were getting them jobs, we were pointing them in the right direction, was helping them get disabilities. One of the things that I'm especially proud of is through my Bob's store situation, 2 employees committed suicide. So I became a trainer of what to know with suicide. So during that period at the state, I actually saved 4 people from killing themselves, so 4 veterans. I spent 10 years there, and then I sauntered out and I met you. I did different things. I work with the Commissioner of Veterans Affairs. One of the things that I've done is I'm a volunteer for an organization called Forever in My Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
And this, one of the situations that happened, I will always remember. We went to New York City and we rescued 8 dogs for vets, and they were going to be euthanized. And we brought these Labrador retrievers back, and I'll never forget them getting off this plane, and they're wagging their tails, and they're
so happy.
And the interesting part about these labs from Ukraine, they'd walk with us. They'd walk on our left side. They'd sit. They'd stay. And this is a pup. So those are some of the things that I did. I cherish those moments. I do stand down with the veterans at the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs. I volunteer for that.
Can you explain what stand down is?
Yes, stand down is a gathering of one day that the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs has locations. And veterans that need dental care, DMV checks, criminal checks, or some of the vendors donate clothing and whatever. And veterans are allowed to go there and they pick up clothing and whatever.
Wow.
My main thing I'm doing now is I'm helping some vets with disability. Veterans are intimidated by the VA. And when I go into the VA in Newington and I walk to the 4th floor, I said, oh, he's here again. And we'll help a veteran. I just helped a couple years back, I helped a veteran with ischemic heart disease. And that is a Agent Orange product. And we got him to 100%.
Wow.
And unfortunately, that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, the wife called me up and she says, I'm here with my husband. I just want you to know that I slapped him upside his head. I says, well, what for? He could have been doing this with you a long, long time ago. Yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm doing a lot of different things. We just brought a dog to Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
That was the neatest thing. We brought a service dog for the kids there. So it's all tying in together. It's like I really never left the service. Yeah. So those are some of the things. Going back to Vietnam, a lot of veterans will say, why would you risk your life and go there? And I had this thing as a young kid that said there was a purpose there. Now, aside from the political war, and we all knew that's what it was, I really wanted to win. As a kid, you really don't know. You try to say to yourself, what avenue am I going to take? But I chose the avenue to go there and spend a year there. And at times we had people laughing. There were good times in Vietnam. It wasn't all bad.
Right.
But when the shells came in, and we were all trained with M16s, but the problem with M16s is they would jam up. So we resorted back to M1s. And the interesting part, the 45 that we were carrying was a weapon that was solid steel. And it wasn't all this plastic stuff. It was solid steel. So the memories come back, especially, you remember this well, try to picture this, and we both remember this, that helicopter coming down, and the pilot, just a great pilot. I had to have a picture of him. And then the little kid wants to get on the copter, and the people are all waiting. I says, no, it doesn't work that way. The kids are going to get on the copter first. But those are, and if you remember correctly also, the kids, you love the kids. I mean, they just love hearing about it. The kids were more enthralled about listening to a vet than the high school kids were.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things I did. I mean, I cherish the moments with you.
Yeah, it was very memorable. And for me, excuse me, when the Black Hawk was coming down, and then we also had the Humvee coming across, I started to cry because my youngest son was the gunner on the Humvee. My other son did Black Hawks. So seeing them like together, kind of like, I don't know, it just did something to me, and it was almost like the gladness that my sons came home, but it's like, what did they go through when they were in Iraq at the same time? You know? So it was very emotional to see. I mean, for me, a Black Hawk is like seeing an eagle coming or something.
Yeah.
It's just a magnificent bird to me, seeing it coming down. But to just see the kids all excited to be part of it, and you know, like you said, the adults were almost fighting them to get on those Black Hawks themselves. It was so cute, but
I think
it was great.
you might have been kind of surprised when I walked in the first meeting. Here's a guy from Rocky Hill. He's coming to Wethersfield. I thought it was the neatest thing, and it was so well represented. And this one coming back,
the one coming back
is
is
going to
a
be
little
the same.
different, right? We're going to honor vets. We're going to put a big emphasis on the women, because I think that a lot of people don't realize that there are 8 women on that wall. The donut dollies, there's 3 of them that died in Vietnam, and they were just there trying to bring some happiness.
Yeah.
You know, let's play some games, you know, doing whatever, just there for the troops, and 3 of them died. And of course, Rosie the Riveter, we can't forget that one.
Yeah.
Holding down the fort while, you know, World War II and stuff, you know, welding, things like that. And then when the guys come home, it's like bye-bye, and that had to be tough too. So we're going to honor them, and definitely our first responders. But it's going to be different, but it's going to be just as beautiful. And Ron has some surprises up his sleeve too.
There's always some humor, though. I always bring some humor to it. Like if I'll go to a parade and I'll have the ribbons. Yeah. And I'll never forget in Rocky Hill at the Memorial Day Parade, all of Vietnam, all the ribbons are Vietnam.
Right.
Young kid, 6 years old, comes up with Dad and says, I'll bet you that you can't tell me what all those ribbons are.
He said that to you? You showed him, didn't you?
And I said to him, just wait, I could tell you because I have a piece of paper in my pocket. And if I forget, I'll be able to.
They're right there.
So I enjoy the kids the most. That to me is the most important thing.
I agree.
So.
I agree. For me, it was seeing the school buses coming up.
Yeah.
That was something I was really praying for, to have those kids there. They needed to just touch.
Yeah.
Touch and feel it.
The one thing I think that we've got to figure out how to do for vets, and we have not come up with the right formula, is this. We've got to figure out a way that a veteran can go into the VA in Newington or West Haven without being intimidated and without any feeling of, you know, they don't want me here, to go in and get their because a lot of vets just won't go.
Right. And disability doesn't necessarily mean something that you can see either. A disability isn't something that's right there in front of you that you can see. It's something that's inside, it's internal, and sometimes that's a hard thing to ask for help for too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but I love this, and Ron will definitely be back. He's got a lot more stories to tell us. So, yeah, and you're going to love hearing everything that Ron has to tell us. So, he's been a great help, a great supporter of veterans, period. of us bringing these tributes to Wethersfield. He's right there with me helping, and he's gotten a lot of things that are going to be coming up in July. He was a big help on that, so you'll see it on the itinerary that I put out. But I want to thank you, Ron, for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And if you have any ideas for a podcast, please let me know. You can email me at dfederici.aft@gmail.com. Any ideas that you have, or maybe you want to be part of it, or you know someone that does any kind of service for veterans, that would be fantastic. You can also visit us at americasfreedomtribute.org and our YouTube channel, America's Freedom Tribute AFT, and you'll see this tomorrow. It'll be up for you to view. When you see this, it'll already be up there. So again, this podcast is brought to you by Patriot Mobile, the phone service of America's Freedom Tribute. Just use code AFT to get your first month free. And remember, thank you for listening. And remember, Veterans' Voices matter today and every day. And let's not forget our troops and their families. Pray for them that everybody comes home safe. And thank you until next time.